Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Here's a question. It's commonly posed. Inshallah, we'll take it. It is a question about certain individuals warning from Masjid Al-Istiqama. They ascribe themselves to Spubs, TROID, and those type of people that are affiliated with them. Before we answer, inshallah, relating to this warning, just want to give like a timeline of events of who is Maktabat Salafiyya, who is TROID, just as like a history lesson, so we can give a background of things. Sufyan al-Thawri, he says, لما استعمل الرواة الكذب استعملنا عليهم التاريخ. Or that type of wording, he said that once certain people began to lie and so forth, we end up using dates and facts and timeline events as a proof against them to make sure everything's accurate and intact. So I'm just going to lay out certain things, inshallah. But just before that, I seen a post by Abu Iyad Amjad Rafiq, a core member of Maktabat Salafiyya. Posted in this year, 2025, January 28. He says with the title here, Sheikh Ubaid al-Jabiri. He says here, Rahimahullah, may Allah have mercy on him, on the infamous Brixton contract of Hizbiyya, in which Al-Ma'ribi tried to restrict and tie UK Dawah to just two men, and then he put in brackets, his buddies. These type of attempts surface every now and then in different disguises. He's talking about recently there's been like a splitting and amongst Spubs and these individuals. People were warning from Amjad Rafiq and some of the people with him. And there were some people with Abu Mu'adh, Taqweem, and some of these other da'is of Spubs. And there were statements of Sheikh Abdullah Bukhari and Arafat, somewhat kind of used to refute Amjad Rafiq and those other people with him. And they were calling him to go back to these shuyukh. Same thing that they've been doing to people for so long, to go back to these shuyukh. And now he's same thing, he's reacting. And he's bringing this to resemble what Abu al-Hasan al-Ma'ribi is doing. He said that Abu al-Hasan al-Ma'ribi in the late 90s tried to place the whole of the Salafi da'wah in Britain under two men, Ali Hassan al-Halabi and Salim Hilali, he says. Here, at the end of his words, he says, below is the text and translation of a fax sent to Maktab al-Salafiyya in relation to this contract, which no one from Maktab al-Salafiyya signed or agreed to. And so they were making it as if none of them at the beginning were inclining to it or endorsing it or agreeing with it. And then he quotes here that Ubaid al-Jabiri says, I've looked at the script of the contract from the judgment of Al-Hasan al-Ma'ribi, which he issued pertaining to the affairs of Salafiyya that have occurred amongst you, and after reflecting upon that judgment, which is composed of 27 points, there's found in that course of it a call to a form of tahazzub, partisanship, clothed as Salafiyya. And Salafiyya is free from it. That's what he says. And he goes in there, in the light of his clear and explicit statement, which binds the Salafis in Britain to the two sheikhs, Ali al-Halabi and Salim Hilali, in 14 places. And then also here, Amjad Rafiq quotes Sheikh Rabia about it, saying that the statement of Al-Hasan al-Ma'ribi is that it's binding upon everyone, all Salafis indicate to return their affairs when they differ to the two sheikhs, Ali Hassan al-Halabi and Salim al-Hilali. May Allah protect them both, because they are the most aware of those whom I know for giving da'wah in this land, and most aware of the condition of his people. Most of the difference between the two parties return back to siyasa shar'iyya, legislate politics and understanding the reality of the da'wah and scholars. So I believe this is the statement of Abu Hasan Ma'ribi, and they're reading it, or Sheikh Rabi is commenting. So he said this is how he makes obligatory upon all differing parties to return their affairs when they differ to two Sheikhs, Ali Hassan al-Halabi and his friend. So Sheikh Rabi says, so where does this Hizbi, who institutes Hizbiyya to himself, Halabi and Hilali, stand regarding the speech of Allah? And if you disagree among yourselves over anything, then refer it back to Allah and the Messenger if you truly believe in Allah and the last day. They said this Hizb is making it binding to return the affairs of differing to a Halabi, but he does not make it binding upon himself and Halabi to return to the Book of Allah and the Sunnah and the foundation. طيب. So let's now go back, because he's making it look like they weren't somewhat agreeing. Let's see if that was the case, and if they weren't inclining to that. And then we're also going to give other time limit events, because when you, at first, a person may assume that these people, they had no ups and downs, and they're so-called Salafiyya. And then when you research more, you can see certain things, inshallah. We're going to look at that, and they may give light to other matters that we're going to speak about, inshallah, in recent times.
واحتضر من القدوم فنسأل الله أن ييسر له سفره. وأخبرني بعض الأخوة أن الأخ أبو عبيدة عامر بشير خرج لأمر طارئ. نسأل الله تبارك وتعالى أن يكون خيرا وأن يؤلف بين قلوب الجميع.
This is Sheikh Salim Ilali speaking. So this is the incidents of, we can get the context, inshallah, with the audio.
He says that Abu Ubaidah Amir had an emergency and he had to leave, so he will not be able to give the word that he was supposed to give. And as for Abu Khadija, he is leaving tomorrow, he's traveling tomorrow, so also he could not attend. So inshallah Abu Hakim will be speaking on their behalf.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره.
So this is Abu Hakim Bilal Davis speaking.
أعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد. I'm being asked to speak in front of the likes of our Sheikh Salim and the likes of Sheikh Muhammad Jabali and the likes of Sheikh Abdul Hassan. Wallahi, the likes of myself, I feel extremely shy to be sitting in this particular seat in front of the ikhwah, who most of them may be أعلم بكثير مني. But with that being the case, Allah al-Musta'an, when we're asked by our shuyukh to give a kalima or to give a word, then as much as we dislike it, we inshallah ta'ala will comply with that which our ulama have requested from us. So with that being the case, I am compelled to speak to you ikhwan concerning the little that I had in my head that I wanted to mention.
Here's another clip. All of these audios that we're playing, it's available online, the full talks of it, about talks that are initial audios of tapes from the late 90s and onwards. But we're just giving the clips from it, inshallah, just to give certain context.
Due to our request of him, they said, if you are here, then when you sign this, then know that this is binding upon you. And it will be binding upon the Masjid Shura. It will be binding upon the Shura that was set up. And therefore, go ahead and sign it. And then we'll give you our judgment. So then the brothers all agreed and smiled. And I remember even when the paper was going around, I remember there was a brother from Birmingham who, when the paper came to him to signing it, he was still doubtful about signing Tasti on to the next brother, and he didn't sign it. I remember when he came to Murad was still, he was like, shall I sign it, shall I not? And eventually he signed it. When he came to Abu Sufyan, he was still saying, well, He didn't sign it, did he? He still didn't sign it, and it came all the way back to Sheikh Salim. And Sheikh Salim said, let's do a head count. A head count was taken of all the brothers, and they counted the names that were signed, and there was a shortfall. He said, who hasn't signed? If you don't want to sign, you can leave, but don't sit here and listen to all of this, and then say, well, then I'll sign it, or then I won't sign it. Either you sign it now, or you leave. And then it was given back to the brothers. And then I remember at one stage, Murad packed his bags. And he said, I think I'm going to leave. And then Sheikh Ali said, come on Murad, sit down. We can work this out. I'm not going to, you know, that I'm with Sheikh Muqbil and Sheikh Rabi and Sheikh bin Baz and Albani. We're all one. Do you think we're going to say anything which opposes them? Then Murad sat there and he signed the agreement. And their brother from Birmingham who didn't sign, then he signed it. Then even Abu Sufyan signed it. So you imagine that this period with this debate which took place between the brothers and the doubts which the brothers were bringing, the resistance the brothers were holding out to their sincerity, that eventually they put their names to this agreement. And one of the brothers who pulled out within 7 days of the agreement, or less than 7 days of the agreement, not anywhere did he object, not from the beginning to the end did he object to any of the signings. Never did he object. Not once did he put his hand up and say, yeah, Sheikh Ali, I don't want to sign this. I'm not really happy with this. But he was the first one to pull out. And he was the one who had his grin on his face when the things were going around. He had his grin on his face, signed the agreement, thinking, yes, and now we were thinking, and we had good intentions of him, and husnul dhan of him, that alhamdulillah, he's signing something because it's going to lead to some sort of unity. And then eventually all the brothers signed. And then Sheikh Ali and Sheikh Salim went away and they came back with the agreement. And the agreement goes as follows. The meeting has defined the following areas for discussion. Firstly, how to work and cooperate with groups and organizations which have Hizbiyah in them, i.e. Al-Muntada Al-Islami, Jam'iyya Ihya Al-Islami. That was the first point. The second point, how the brothers should interact with each other and the continuity of the Shura which was set up a year earlier. And everyone has promised to abide by that which the two brothers, Ali al-Halabi and Sheikh Salim al-Hilali, decreed.
So you can see, this is the agreement. And we'll go back to Mujaddid Rafiq's words, Abu Yad, later on, inshallah.
And then came the signatures, and this took place on the 7th of July, 1997. And the brothers, because as you can see the signatures, some of them are a bit blurred, so I'll read what I can read to you. The first of the names that I see here is Naveed Akhtar, Abdul Rahim Green, Amr Bashir,
So he's reading those who agreed to sign, and who signed.
Alia, Shakil Shawkat, Abdul Qadir, Salahuddin Ali, Ibrahim, Sarhil Abu Alia, Abu Tahir, Yusuf Bowers, Awais Al-Hashimi, Khalid Abu Zayd, Mahfoud Abu Hafs, Abu Khadija Abdul Wahid, Bilal Abu Hakim, Abdul Malik Edwards, Faisal Malik, Muaddam Zaman, Abdul Rahman, Muhammad Nadim, Abu Yusuf, Abdul Hakim, Abdullah Lahmani, Abdulillah
Lahmani, yeah, he signed as well, okay.
Lahmani, Abdul Karim Abu Sufyan, Farid Haibitan, Murad As-Salafi, Abu Tahir, Abu Fudail Abdul Raqib, Samir, Abu Talha, Dawood Burbank, even though Abu Talha wasn't present, but he sent me as a representative. Tariq Rasul from Bradford, Abdul Rahman from Middlesbrough, Amjad Rafiq from
Amjad Rafiq, yeah, Abu Yad, the same person that we were reading his article. Here he's saying that he signed his signature there.
Essex University, Abdul Razak As-San'ani.
So here's the part, inshallah, of what he's reading from the agreement that was signed.
Any particular questions, whatever the reason for that, should not be a cause for cutting off or abandonment. As for matters about which they differ, then matters of disagreement are referred to the Majlis al-Shura.
To Majlis al-Shura. This is what the agreement they're making.
Resolution. If they are unable to solve this, then it is to be referred to the scholars and students of knowledge, as is affirmed in the outlines for the Majlis al-Shura. And just as a sideline, the outlines for the Majlis al-Shura were that we first and foremost take it back to Sheikh, the Mashayikh in Jordan first and foremost. And then after that we take it to the other Mashayikh.
So they take it to them foremost. This is another example of an audio.
Again, I echo everything that the brothers have said so far. Extremely shy to be on the stage with or speaking at the same time as Sheikh Salim, Dr. Jabali and Sheikh Abu Hassan. But as our brother Abu Hakim reminded us, if the ulama ask you to do something, then it's better for you to do it. Just a reminder for myself and for the brothers, inshallah, that
if the ulama ask you to do something, this is the advice. It's better for you to do it here. This is what they mentioned.
That took place concerning the issue of this unification, the issue of individuals being Salafi or not. This is an issue, Ikhwan, which we're here trying to, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, resolve. And it saddens the heart that it should have to come to fisticuffs in regards to such an issue when we have the presence of our shuyukh and when we have the presence of talabat al-ilm who can, if there are any resolve, those issues can be referred back to those scholars before it turns to becoming physical.
Cooperate with those who are upon the manhaj of the Salaf. But who are the doctors in Hizbiyah? As Sheikh Abul Hassan al-Misri, Hafidullah,
You can hear Abu Khadija referring to Abu Hassan al-Ma'ribi, how he's speaking about him.
the foremost of the students of Sheikh Muqbil. He said, if you want to know the doctors, the true physicians who can smell Hizbiyah and who know Hizbiyah, even if he was to come from a different land, they could.
He's quoting on him like in this context. So going back to Abu Yad, where he's saying that he was disagreeing and they were signed, mentions here in his article, against this article, that he says, demand that all their affairs, dispute, problems have to be returned to just one or two men, and that the judgment is binding. Use tazkiyas of scholars in the same way that Al-Ma'ribi did, to convince people that you have their best interests at heart. So we'll leave it like that, because it seems a bit misleading, and from what here, because he mentions here Brixton and Luton allied with Al-Ma'ribi in his revolution and opposed Maktab al-Salafiyya, and this led to a split in the da'wah at that time. And those lectures they were giving, we played those audios, they are Brixton, some of them, and they were talking about unity and so forth. And we know that they were inclining to what was in the article. If they, not all of them signed, then some of them signed that, as we mentioned in those audios. So I want to clarify that, because sometimes some of the wordings of Abu Yad, you have to investigate it further. This is something unfortunate. We found that even one time, he mentioned on his Salafi Talk, his website, that forum, that myself and Musa Millington, we accused Al-Albani, Sheikh Al-Albani, rahmatullah alayhi, of irja. So I reminded him, I said, I'm the same person who sent you an email about 18 months ago, or I sent you something 18 months ago. An article of Sheikh Rabi' freeing Sheikh Al-Albani from irja. And yet you accuse me is no, it really is just, I pointed out that you put in a passage that the scholars of, in one of your books mentioned that this has irja in it and is wrong. So we were critiquing you for this aqeedah error. But to come and add something else, these add-ons are very critical and it can affect your reliability and your integrity in your work and people trusting you. And also it can be a form of oppression, wrongdoing. And we know al-zulm zulumatun yawm al-qiyamah, oppression is wrongdoing or darkness on the Day of Judgment. And what Abu Yad's thing is, I'm not going into too much in detail, what is used in this article is these different bayanat and things that are going back and forth about him and other people. That was the context, like I'll play here a clip.
Mention Sheikh Ubaid, rahimahullah. Sheikh Ubaid was a great scholar. And he was praising the brothers of Spubs. Because, why? Because they came back to the scholars, they were sticking to the Sunnah, sticking to the Salafiyah, going back to them. In his last kalima, I think it was the last kalima, telling to Spubs, he told them to stick after him, rahmatullahi alayhi, to stick to Sheikh Abdullah al-Bukhari and Sheikh Arafat al-Muhammadi. Why didn't do that? Subhanallah, these two have criticized Abu Iyad.
Sounds kind of familiar of the previous one, but labas, maybe we can say it has a different interpretation. Bismillah, let's go.
These two, which Sheikh Ubaid told you to go back. Is this not a reminder? Is this not the alarm which is ringing to wake up? Who do you want to go back to? Sheikh Rabi', Hafidahullah.
Who do you want to go to? There's a lot of scholars to go back to. Alhamdulillah.
Always when we went to visit him in Mecca, when he heard that we are from Medina, he said, stick to Sheikh Ubaid. And in this time, Muhammad ibn Hadi. And Abdullah al-Bukhari.
This is what it is with them. They refer to the circles very narrowed, so that, and it's getting more narrow by the passing of time. We'll give some examples of that, inshallah. Sallallahu tawfiq al-jamia. But here, can I continue on? I just want to give context of who Abu Yad is responding to.
We go back with you together. We go together. Finish off these problems. Don't let people talk about this fitna. Doctors, merchants. You are the heads of the da'wah. You have to take Abu Iyad. Take him to the scholars. Don't defend him. Don't say, oh, we have only seen 30 years good of him. Oh, the way how he was criticized was wrong. Why? He should have given him nasiha but privately. Sheikh Arafat, they say he should have given him nasiha privately. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. But don't they understand, or maybe they have forgot, that the refutation is a nasiha? It's strange that all the rules, they fit to them. الحجة من علم حجة على من لم يعلم, and بلدي الرجل أعلم وأعرف من بلديه, and all this stuff, all these rules, they are fitting them, what they're coming out with them.
And there's a lot of other stuff that I believe Abu Yad is responding to, and people that are affiliated with him, I believe Abu Khadija too. Because some things are like, here there's Arafat clarification on the double standards of those warning from Taqweem Aslam. And he says, I have not received any evidence regarding Brother Taqweem Aslam. And I had advised some of the brothers who were speaking against him to provide us with evidence so that we could present it to our scholars. And so on and so forth, the different things. Even some of them, they wrote bayan of somewhat freeing themselves. And so later on, there's more things that came out afterwards, but this was the context. Inshallah, I hope this clarifies. Like, for example, here is someone saying that Sheikh Abdullah Bukhari requests Abdulillah al-Lahmami to inform Abu Yad of the obligation to retract and repent from his invalid foundations. And also Arafat warned here at TOREID Center, Sydney, Australia. Made a bayan. And then also afterwards, Salafi publication, Spubs, they wrote that they became aware of Ali Halabi's errors and affairs of Manhaj shortly after 2001. And they write, in bracket, independent of the refutation of the Lajna, such as his defense and companionship of certain innovators whom the scholars had warned against. And we'll show how they were with Ali Halabi before that, just so we can show some of the characteristics.
As for me, and as for Maktaba Salafiyya, Wallahi wa billahi wa tallahi, Abu Talha is a witness, Abu Sufyan is a witness, Abu Iyad is a witness, Bilal Hussein is a witness, that there is no one in the Western world who defended Sheikh Ali Hassan Al-Halabi as much as Maktaba Salafiyya. Go to the website, go to the bookstore, and you'll see magazines defending Sheikh Ali Hassan Al-Halabi. And you have just heard another lie, that we say that Sheikh Ali Hassan, Hafidhullah, is miskeen. This is another kadhib from Kadhabun who have been lying, and they continue to lie. We spent weeks, if not months, translating the works of Al-Albani and Ali Hassan and Sheikh Salim and Sheikh Khalid Al-Ammari and the rest of the Mashayikh with their tapes, Muhammad ibn Hadi, Sheikh Ubaid al-Jabari, in defense of Sheikh Ali Hassan Al-Halabi. And this Dajjal is going to come and say that we hold that Sheikh Ali is miskeen. We invited Sheikh Ali to our conference 2 years ago. He stayed in my house. Abu Talha has translated his books. Abu Iyad has translated his books. We sell his tapes, and now this
With this, there's a tweet of Abu Khadija, 2016, December 17. Salafi publication and those with them rejected upon ilm the 1999 Ma'ribi, Halabi, Hilali Pact Hizbiya of Bid'ah of Brixton and Luton. Doesn't sound like that. If you listen to some of the audios, and it sounds like they were with them. That's what maybe a parent, perhaps. And the person, when he sees this, then later on, like even they mention, even before that, Khadija, year 2000, he wrote, below is Sheikh Ali Hassan's clear response to the Permanent Committee Lajna regarding their allegations against 2 books of Sheikh Ali Hassan. The response of Sheikh Ali Hassan below is decisive and clear him from any question over his scholarship and knowledge. We wait for the Lajna to correct its mistakes. Lajna Daima, brothers. And we ask the innovators to rejoice no more. And I believe the title here, Al-Allama Ali Hassan Al-Halabi response to the Lajna. And if you read some of the statements afterwards, it's as if they were never with Ali Halabi or They never were supporting him. And this is what must be mostly be apparent for the people that read it.
That the Mashayikh know Maktaba Salafiyya. They already know Maktaba Salafiyya. Whether it be Sheikh Rabi', whether it be Sheikh Falih al-Harbi, whether it be Sheikh Muhammad ibn Hadi, whether it be Abdul Salam Burgess, whether it be Sheikh Farah Ismail, whether it be Sheikh Salim al-Tawil, whether it be Sheikh Fawzi al-Asri, whether it be Abu Anas Hamad al-Uthman.
And so this is some of the shuyukh that they were really promoting. Yani Falih Harbi, everyone knows that time that some of them, even when there were some of the things coming out, some of them were still onto this individual. And Fawzi al-Athari, Salim Tawil, he says, we know like they don't, so this is what they're mentioning. And there's other individuals. But if you look at how they used to speak about some of the people, it was a great attachment, as if there was attachment to the personalities of some of these scholars and returning back to them. And it was like more greater than how a person would speak and how returning back to the text. And that's found in a lot of examples of their speech. Because we know, إِنَّ الْحَيِّ لَا تُؤْمِنْ عَلَيْهِ الْفِتْنَةِ, really the living is not safe from trial. And that's why you try to connect people more to the text. And a scholar, it can be right at times, it can be wrong at times. And this is how the tarbiyah should be, the cultivation. And mashallah, Dawood Burbank, he gave this type of advice. Abu Talha.
We also had a matter, taqleed, blind following, which unfortunately we made indication towards, but some of the brothers mentioned the indication wasn't quite clear enough. Unfortunately, taqleed is found amongst us, here amongst those who claim to be Salafi, and
you're pointing it out amongst us. And that was clear that was happening.
It is still, unfortunately, very unfortunately found, quite widespread, just the acceptance, giving the saying of so-and-so said, and giving it equality with it as if it's a text from the text of Islam. And somebody gives you a hadith, and that's when, oh, well, but Sheikh so-and-so said so-and-so, such and such. And you ask, well, what was the evidence of the Sheikh? Don't know, no idea. And what's even worse sometimes is that when someone is faced, there's a saying here from the scholars, and the authentic hadith, the scholar brings the authentic hadith, and then someone else contradicts it, but Shaykh, a different Shaykh, he says something different, and they contradict it. And then you ask them, well, what was the second Shaykh's evidence then? And they say, I don't know. And they seem to feel no shame whatsoever, and they don't seem to feel any doubt about their Salafiyyah, that they can do that. They hear a saying from a scholar, with a hadith from Allah's Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, is authentic, and they say, but the second Shaykh, he says something different. And when they're asked for the evidence, they say, I don't know. And they feel no shame. And they don't remember the saying of Imam Ahmad, I fear for you the stones, as Shaykh al-Islam brings in Kitab al-Tawheed, I fear for you stones, I fear the stones will come down upon your head. I say to you, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, such and such, and you say Abu Bakr and Umar said, it's as if all this has passed us by. Wallahu musta'an. So anyway, just for those who wish to be aware, those who are new, for example, if you hear the like of these sayings, but Shaykh so-and-so said this, hadith comes, authentic, but Shaykh so-and-so said that, then be aware these are not the sayings of Salafis. These are not the sayings of Salafis, and this is not the position of the Salafis. This is the position of the blind followers, who we review the blind followers for doing it, and then we fall into it.
Also, like from the things that they were doing, as it was passing on, it was like this great attachment about how they are and the particular place, which, and perhaps there's some khair and so forth, but the wordings and exaggeration, sometimes these can have negative impacts. I'll give you an example.
The cities of the dunya, you will be hard pushed to find a community
And he's speaking here, beloved Davis, that saying basically people are ungrateful. If you were to travel the cities of the dunya, not just the city of the West, he says, you'll be hard pushed to find a community of like what they have there of the Salafis. This is what he's saying. Also like in Bilad al-Kufr, brothers. And if you travel the cities of the dunya, it'd be hard pushed to find like what they have. And we know how the state is, and Bilad al-Kufr, and Salafiyya, some of the things is hard in certain aspects. And also, we know there's various places that a person could find mashayikh with Salafiyya, with people around them, students. So this is what he mentioned. Yeah, probably in some plans it's hard, but like this exaggeration, this could sometimes lead to extreme attachment. Extreme attachments that could happen. Here's another speaker of theirs.
They used to invite me to his house, walk to me by himself. I'm thinking I'm nobody.
And this was shared by TROID.
Sheikh Ubaid, he took me to his side. Just me and him one day, and he walked me to his house. Who am I? How many from the ulama, Sheikh Ubaid, they used to invite me to his house, walk to me by himself. I'm thinking I'm nobody.
Yeah, this is like the cultivation that they have. That you get so attached to a scholar like this. So, continue on.
Sheikh Ubaid, he took me to his side. Just me and him one day, and he walked me to his house. Who am I? Just a regular person, seeking knowledge. This is Allama. He said, Abdul walk with me.
He invited him to his house, he walked with him. These are the things that people are getting attached to.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this man is mutawadhi.
Because he's told to walk with him.
I remember my sahib, Uwais al-Tawiyyah, said, go. He said, get up, go. He said, get up, go walk to the sheikh. I said, I'm walking with him. I have a lot of respect for the sheikh. He said, he pushed me and get up to go. Walk. Sheikh Ubaid said, walk me to his house. And I walked him until we got to his house. Rahimallah. I miss him dearly, Rahimallah. Very humble man. Very humble. Miss him dearly, Rahimallah. At any rate, the man asked me to walk him to his house. Al-Alama, Sunnah.
You think he's going to mention something about a hadith or a benefit or something related to the Quran and Sunnah. But just this incident alone of just his personality of walking, inviting, this is what's being highlighted here.
The man, so much respect and love, to the point I can't even mention Sheikh Ubaid's name, it's Sabatira. It's hard for me to even mention his name. It's Sabatira. Told me to walk him to his house. I'm no one.
Keeps repeating this. Walk him to his house. Walk him to his house. Bismillah.
Just somebody from America, from Philadelphia, really. Took some time out, I guess Sheikh Ubaid seen something in me that I didn't see in myself at all.
Because he asked him to walk. Maybe it's because the Sheikh is blind, elderly man. Perhaps he wanted someone at his side. Maybe there was a particular need. Probably some other things. And he's seen in you something. This is a good husn al-dhan of yourself, mashallah. Bismillah.
To know that you can come from the most craziest of places and be able to be somebody that be able to benefit the people.
Yeah, that's the incident, mashallah, from walking the Sheikh. And this is to show that that's the inspiring incident, mashallah. Bismillah.
and take you on his wing and bring you to his house and walk alone with the great Al-Alama, rahimallah. Miss him dearly, rahimallah.
MashaAllah. This is the tarbiyah. But you find with this tarbiyah, sometimes it's a real attachment and love that sometimes looks like it exceeds how they promote and they support and they defend someone. Hubban, it goes a bit, as we're supposed to love someone, hubban shar'iyan. Like when they mentioned the Sahabas, nuhibbuhum hubban shar'iyan, we love the Sahabas, a legislated love. And it's moderate, because there were some groups that went to extreme in the love of the Sahabas. And then we also, when we hate someone, we hate them bughdan shar'iyan, a legislated hate. But them, they exceed that. You find that when they hate someone, some of the examples, it's not moderate hate. Some other examples looks like has hiqd. Like when you even suppose you hate an innovator, you're supposed to not hate him like a malice type of hate, but it's a hate that is legislated, that it's within the limits of the Sharia and of what is legislated and how the Salaf were. But some of the examples, we'll give examples, inshallah. Before that, we'll give here a statement of one of their shuyukh, where he speaks about Sheikh Rabi'. He calls it, the title is Sheikh al-Islam. It's translated by Yasin ibn Jamal of the Shuyukh Salah Kantush al-Adani. And Sheikh al-Islam Rabi' ibn Hadi al-Madkhali, may Allah reward with goodness, the Sheikh of Salafiyah. Like that. Sheikh of Salafiyah. And it's Imam. So the Imam of Salafiyah and the Sheikh of Salafiyah. With that itlaq, like the wording without them. Imam Rabi' ibn Hadi al-Madkhali, for he has strived in the cause of Allah against deviation and straying from the straight path. Indeed, his favor upon the Salafis in general is immense, and by Allah, his efforts amongst us remind me of the efforts of Shaykh Islam ibn Taymiyyah. Remind you of the efforts of Shaykh Islam ibn Taymiyyah. MashaAllah. Within the Ummah, Allah has benefited us through him in a way that is unparalleled. He says here, from this moment I'll bestow the title of Shaykh Islam upon the Shaykh of our blessed Dawah, the Shaykh of our blessed Dawah. The Imam Rabi' ibn Hadi ibn Umair al-Madkhali, may Allah preserve him, grant him happiness, and be pleased with him in this world and the hereafter. So sometimes this is how the cultivation starts with these titles. Like sometimes it can be misleading when people hear these type of wordings. Sheikh of Salafiyah, it's Imam, the Imam of Salafiyah, and his efforts resemble the efforts of Shaykh Islam ibn Taymiyyah, and like within the Ummah or Allah's benefit. So these type of wordings, and he deserves Shaykh Islam, and as like he's like in the same wording as Shaykh Islam ibn Taymiyyah has the title, it's like his. So sometimes these things could lead to the excessive attachment. But we'll give, inshallah, of how the other side, sometimes where they go to, when there's one time extreme love and then sometimes extreme hate. And these type of topics are very important because one of the asl of usul Ahl Sunnah is that our wala and bara, it is in a manner that's legislated. Once a person goes to extreme, this could make him deviate and pose one of the usuls in terms of his wala for the kitab of Allah and the sunnah of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And also, like, this is an example of extreme hate, that they can even say the outrageous accusations on their opponents. Even that could be a takfir. And we find some takfiri tendency in some of the wordings. Like, for example, how they were dealing with Sheikh Yahya ibn Ali al-Hajuri, Amjad Rafiq Abu Iyad, core member of Spubs, he says, the ghulu toward Yahya al-Haddadi. Part 6, Yahya al-Haddadi worship besides Allah with istighatha. And he's saying those people who wrote some lines of poetry praising him, they worshipped Yahya al-Hajuri, like that. And you find this is like what he wrote in his article. We stated that he was worshipped besides Allah on account of the admission of his student poet. If you give permission to be worshipped, you're a kafir. Also, he said, what about Hajuri? Instead of Hajuri turning his poet and saying, you have worshipped me besides Allah, and showing rebuke and publishing a cassette on this matter in refutation of his poet. And he says at the end, he goes, and veneration of the affair of Tawheed. Instead, we see Hajuri take the way of those who are Sufis. And those who are intellectual terrorism to ward off illegitimate criticism. ولا يجرمنكم شنآن قوم على أن لا تعدلوا اعدلوا أقرب للتقوى. Do not allow the hatred that you have for someone to not lead you to be just. Because they were extreme. Like, this is the reply when people are telling them that you have, your hatred is leading to even to takfir indirectly. So he said, as for the claim of the question that they, Maktab al-Salafiyya, say Al-Hajuri was pleased with that shirk and he affirmed the lines of poetry of shirk when read to him, then this is false. But there's nothing in our article which states that. He said, third, there's nothing in our article that states that Al-Hajuri was pleased with being worshipped by other than Allah in that instance to istighatha. And he also said, never made any claim that Hajuri is pleased with being worshipped besides Allah. And his oppressive followers are now spreading, he says. To the fabrication of lie, twisting of the reality, because now, nowhere in our article we did state that. That's what he said. Let's go back to the part, and he also tried to erase it, hide this part. Alhamdulillah, it was a screenshot before he erased it. And we'll write again the statement again. We stated that he was worshipped besides Allah on account of the admission of his student poet. And also he says, instead of Hajuri turning to his poet and stating, have you worshipped me besides Allah and showing rebuke. Look at showing rebuke. And he says, instead we see Hajuri take the way of the Sufis who use intellectual terrorism to ward off legitimate criticism. And so these are clear, and there's even other wordings within this article. Another example of that is when Abu Khadija, he was promoting on his Twitter account a statement of Sheikh Ubayd al-Jabri saying Sheikh al-Hajuri is the Iblis of Yemen. On his Twitter. Despite it being clarified afterwards to Abu Khadija and his followers, the Sheikh recanted from the statement due to it necessitating takfir upon Sheikh Yahya, supposed and Sahab. Nevertheless, we do not find any retraction from Abu Khadija and his followers from such an extreme statement. Another example, Abu Hakim bin David is saying Shaykh al-Hajuri holds the statement of the Messenger ﷺ not being accepted except with evidence. So this is not a statement of a Muslim, you have to declare him to. I'll give you another example on the website Hajuri that they all promote. The al-Hajuri Haddadi has numerous statements belittling the companions. Right? We know this, it's basically a definition of a Zindiq heretic. When you tell him, is he this? If you see a man belittling any of the companions, then know that he's a Zindiq. Like they say, he insults the companions, degrades them. This is the extreme, like the side of that. I'll show you another example of the extreme.
That speaks ill of Rasulullah, and you're going to say it's
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're saying.
What did you say about Yahya Hajuri?
What are you talking about?
What did you say about Yahya Hajuri?
Yeah?
What did you say about Yahya Hajuri?
What do you mean?
What did you say about Yahya Hajuri?
What do you want to say about him?
You won't speak because Yahya Hajuri speaks about the Prophet ﷺ and the
Yahya Hajuri speaks about the Prophet with S, speaks. And then with that, when you ask him make takfir, he won't. Very scary.
companions.
What do you say about
this? This is why. And to tell them, we have books on him about
show me the book.
misguidance.
Show me the book about his misguidance. Show me a book about his misguidance.
Now he's not.
He just lied. He just lied. Okay, he just said it.
We have books on him.
We do have books on him. Show me the book.
We do have books on him.
Come see. Just lied.
This is an example of how the followers are. They're very aggressive. Even like this person who comes to Masjid is being approached with this. But he recorded them as proofs.
Show me the book now. Show me the book.
Sit down. I'll get you the book. Come sit down.
Okay, show me the book.
Come sit down.
Show me the book.
Come sit down. Take it. Take it.
Okay, this is Sheikh Rabi's book, isn't
Yeah,
it?
take it. Take it.
Take it away.
Take it. Go sit down and you can read it.
This is Sheikh Rabu's book, yeah?
Take it or
It's
not.
Mustalah Hadith, isn't it?
So he brings a book, after saying he had books about Sharia, shows misguidance, and that he speaks about the Prophet and so forth. He brings a book that of Sheikh Rabi' responded to Sheikh Yahya about declaring some hadith to be weak. That's the general meaning of it, of the book. So the brother is saying, this is a book of science hadith, isn't it? Where's the books that you're referring to?
Take it or not.
Is this fiqh or is it aqidah?
Is it about Hajuri or not?
Is it about fiqh or aqidah though?
Your brother here, if
It's
you
a
guys
fiqh-
follow
it's a
him,
fiqh book.
do you know him? You don't know him.
So the person says, is it about hajuri or not? And the person asking me, is it about fiqh or aqidah? What is it about? Couldn't answer at that time.
This brother, he said, I lied. And look,
No, this is not. It's a book of
look,
fiqh.
this is about Hajuri.
About what does it say? What does it say?
About his dalal.
Which one?
See, I know
Which
he's...
So it's about his misguidance. It's about the main affair of this, the hadith that Sheikh Yahya declared to be weak or da'if, or the main thing of da'if, declare weak, and Sheikh Rabi' came to prove from a scientific point of view of the science of hadith that it's authentic. And Sheikh Yahya also came back and responded and mentioned that there's imams that supported him and why. He mentions of what supporting chains and so forth, it is. So it's a discussion, not of ilm, it's academic, it's open for ijtihad.
And he's saying he doesn't defend it.
No. Which one? Which one
Yeah,
is it?
I think-
No. Tell me which book it is about. This book is about fiqh.
So let's go back to now another clip of that.
Hajuri,
Who said
Haddadi,
it's Haddadi? Who said it's
Khabib.
Haddadi? Who said it's
He's
Haddadi?
Khabib.
Who said it's Haddadi?
Please,
Why do you
this
make
one
who's
go
Haddadi?
away.
Why do you make تكفير of the Sheikh?
انت لسه مثلك مو مثلك يا صغير روح مني صراحة ما عندك أدب ولا
If
عيب.
somebody speaks ill of the Prophet ﷺ, what's his position?
I'm
So he's asking him, if someone speaks about the Prophet, what's the position? And you have to take a stance. You have to say this is some real clear-cut kufr, to say all these things about him and yet you're hesitant.
Be a man.
You tell me. You
guys are witness, yeah? He said that.
Abdurrahim, I'm asking you to leave now. I'm asking you to leave now.
No. You
يعني من
said.
ناحية
He asked him to leave the masjid.
الأدب حتى من ناحية الأدب
You have no other Wallahi, you Wallah.
And some of them, they are like this. When they really hate someone, they can get really aggressive. If anyone met some of them, like I think I still some messages and emails. Some of them have threatened to get violent with me. Some of them have said, if you ever step in this town, we're going to do this. All sorts of threats. And when you look back and say you spoke about our sheikh and taking this opinion of this sheikh against our sheikh. This is how they are, the reason why they want to get violent. And also they have a tendency, like when they sometimes hate someone, to use the Friday sermons, or to like even make threats, or to even to speak, and like they will have like some of them hajuri on the Friday khutbah, like it was like it's really bothered them. It's that type of affair. So here's one of the da'is, Hassan Malik, on a Friday khutbah. This is what he's saying.
That we stand tall and walk tall against anyone who comes to whisper in our communities and cause confusion and chaos and division, and we will warn against you by your names and your kunyas. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala wa aqim as-salah.
Here's another example, just show how the hate could sometimes lead to being not just or a bit extreme.
More beloved to me than my parents. They are more beloved to us. Barakallahu feekum. So we will not allow. So if anyone's here with those doubts or those shubahat, then that should clear it for you. Barakallahu feekum. The man left Yemen now. He's living in Mecca, around the corner from a bookstore in Aziziyah. On his own. Khalas, finished.
I'm saying that Sheikh Yahya, when he went to Mecca, he was on an escort of Ziyafa from one of the princes. and even some of the Saudi shuyukh even interceded for him, Sheikh Sa'ad al-Shatri and other scholars, to give talks at a masjid Taqwa, and he's saying he was alone, Sheikh finished on his own, and everybody knew that it was packed, mashallah. You have to be just. You can't, no matter if even he's an innovator, you can't lie about him.
What did he think? That the ummah, that the ulama of Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah, that all of them would be debased and he would remain standing? What is he? Shaykh al-Islam? What?
You find, in fact, well, when he came, there was like honor from some of the scholars for him. That's why you can go on YouTube and some of these places you find even like him giving a talk at Sheikh Saleh al-Sheikh's maktab, his office. And if he's such a person that's finished on his own, why is he giving a talk there? Why is he meeting up with great scholars, and later on some of them were even praising him? And this is not to say that a Sheikh is free from mistakes, but just to show that they went to extreme with dealing with the Sheikh. And this is what we're going to show. Like here, Amjad Rafiq, he wrote about Sheikh al-Hajuri, was later shared by TROID and their associates. So al-Hajuri has mistakes in Tawheed, Aqeedah, evil statements and position regarding the Messenger of Allah. SubhanAllah. Isn't this person kafir like this? This is a description. Evil statements and positions regarding the Messenger of Allah. But yes, maybe the kafir. So these people, you have to ask them, like, what are you on? If this person, when we tell you this is an indirect takfir, or this person, is he not a kafir? What's the reason? They can make some clarification. Towards the companions, and his statements are in position where towards the companions, towards the Khalifa Uthman, and towards the scholars of the Sunnah and Salafiyah. Wow, mashallah. His tongue is foul and evil, and is known to lie and deceive. He and his statements have been refuted collectively by Sheikh Salih Fawzan. So a brother in America, I believe, decided to confirm the claim that Sheikh was refuted by Sheikh Salih Fawzan. Therefore, he called the Sheikh directly, and you can see the phone call. And if the likes of Spubs and TROID are reliable when it comes to quoting on the scholars, we'll click it and play the clip, inshallah.
نعم. هل استطيع أن أسألك سؤالا من فضلك بارك الله فيك؟ نعم. طيب شيخ
أريد if you can ask him a question.
أسألك هنا في أمريكا أنا أحب أن أسمع صوت الشيخ يحيى الحجوري ولكن يوجد بعض الإخوة هم يحذروني من هذا الشيخ ماذا تنصحني؟
So this person saying he likes to listen to the recordings of Sheikh al-Hajuri, but there's some people warning him. And this, maybe remember the Amjad Rafiq Spubs, they're saying on their website, Sheikh Salih Fawzan refuted Sheikh Yahya and him in his statements. Okay, let's see this, inshallah. So I don't know Hajuri, but I haven't heard concerning him except good. Remember what they said, and even when we sent this to them, we told them, I believe it was 2016, we sent this to them, we told them, can you take that down? This is a wrong statement about Sheikh Salih Fawzan. At least, and if you hate someone, so just take back this error. You're misquoting a scholar, misrepresenting him. And they still, at that time, they didn't take it down.
طيب أنت هل تنصحني أن أسمع أصواته ومحاضرته؟ اللي تستفيد منه اسمع. طيب شيخ وبارك الله فيك.
Ask him to listen to the lectures, the tapes. Was that what you benefit? Then listen to it.
وهل تعرف أي أشخاص هنا في أمريكا طلاب؟
And this happened before. I believe it was like there was some translations and they were using it to portray the speech of an alim towards speaking bad about the Maj and so forth. We sent it to them, I think it was TROID, and we told them, here, this is the actual translation, can you take it back? At the time, they didn't take it back. Another example.
Now she has nifaq and she has hypocrisy with her. I'm sure you wouldn't want to give him a rose. I'm sure if you said something about that your father, that Islam didn't, if he was Muslim, and he said that Islam never entered in his heart at all, would you give a person a rose? You want to take him out and have some drinks? Have some, halal drink. Things like that. Just go sit together, let's eat together to the end of it. Well, how would you take it?
And I still to this day believe that Yahya al-Hajuri is an Ikhwan Hizbi Mubtada'. Yes. حدادي حزبي خبيث مبتدع متأثر بالشيعة والزيدية.
This is one of their da'is speaking like this, and he added certain things that some of them it looks a bit hard to find in one individual. Ikhwani, and at the same time he's Haddadi, and Ikhwani Haddadi, and then he's also متأثر بالشيعة والزيدية, and he's a Hizbi, and he's a Khabith. Possible, let's see, inshallah.
Hizbi Khabith, evil individual.
Everyone's face is looking like, what? Are you serious? Yes. Still in these days, at times you'll find it still.
These are clips from his speech.
Affected by this idiot Yahya al-Hajuri.
Calls him idiot here, mashallah.
طيب. You understand? Yes, everyone. طيب.
And he's laughing at him.
Yeah. That was the craziest one I read. You could go on and on and on and.
That kind of reminded me of like a little incident. I'll share this clip here.
رجل شكى جاره أنه زنديق، والزنديق عند كثير من العلم بمعنى المنافق، فدعاه الوالي قال إيش عنده؟ قال هذا.
So a story in the past, a man, one of the mashayikh of Yemen mentioned this. Someone complained about his neighbor and said that he's a heretic or a zindiq, and it means a hypocrite. So the ruler called him and said, why did you call him that?
قدري رافضي مرجئي من الخوارج.
So he said, this person is a qadari, rafidi, murji'i, and also he's from the Khawarij at the same time.
هذا يسب معاوية بن الخطاب.
So he says he's insulting, and he makes a mistake on the name too.
نعم، الذي قتل علي بن العاص. فقال الوالي لا أدري أحسدك أو أغبطك على علمك بالمقالات أو على معرفتك بالأنساب. فجاء الأمور كلها وحصدها عصدا. أي نعم، معاوية بن الخطاب وعلي بن العاص. فعرف الوالي بذلك أنه ليس بصادق، جمع عليه جميع البدع، خارجي قدري مرجئي. كيف مرجئي وخارجي؟
He said, how is he khariji at the same time he's murji'i?
ما يجتمعان. المرجئي عنده.
So this is it. It can be from this angle, possibility. Some of that thing that may of what he said. Another example is from one of the du'ats too, Shamsi, the YouTuber Musa Millington, the da'i, met with him, and he was saying that Shaykh al-Hajuri is Haddadi because of his statement saying that the first adhan is an innovation. Musa militant told him, doesn't Sheikh Mubin say the same opinion? Why isn't a Haddadi too? So he's told him that Shamsi said if he was alive, he didn't take that statement back, we would call him Haddadi as well. So this is where they're taking it to, brothers. Also, another thing too, in their tarbiyah, like you look at their tweets, the comments on their channels, like someone said in conclusion, if you don't take from TROID or Spubs only in the West, then we doubt your Salafiyah. And there's like a 4 like thumbs up for it. And then TROID says, if a student of knowledge was in Syria at the time of Ibn Taymiyyah and he was asked about him or Ibn al-Qayyim and he said, I don't know them, would you sit with him? Just like this is the chance to correct that little statement. This is what they come with. If a student of knowledge was in Saudi Arabia and he was asked about Sheikh Muslim Abbad or Sheikh Rabi' or Sheikh Fawzan, he said, I know nothing bad of them, would you sit with him? And this is, you can see an example. This would have been an opportunity. This would have been their opportunity to correct this individual, but the speech that they condone is ridiculous. So this is an opportunity for them to correct a person about that type of tarbiyah, but they don't. That's why we find a lot of their tweets. This is how they talk and so forth.
I said it years ago in a conference in London. And I said, these people now who are attacking Sheikh Ubaid and Sheikh Rabi and so on, only 6 years ago they didn't know the difference between Salafiyah and a sandwich. They didn't know the difference.
They didn't know the difference between Salafiyah and a sandwich. That's what they're saying.
Now they are the vanguards, like this Abdul Hamid al-Hajuri. Abdul Hamid al-Hajuri now, because Yahya has no one left around.
Abdul Hamid al-Hajuri perhaps, he's saying 6 years ago he didn't know the difference between Salafiyah and what you call a sandwich. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Someone who has a ijaz or a tazkiyah from Sheikh Muhammad Adam al-Ethiopi, from Yahya al-Mudarris, someone that has been praised by Sheikh Mubin. He's also one of the students of Sheikh Mubin. Someone wrote books and books way before that. Memorized books of hadith, Sahih Muslim. And this is what he's saying about him. He doesn't know the difference between Salafi and a sandwich, and it's like 6 years.
So he says, no, the mashayikh are with me. Which mashayikh? Because now, those who are around him, he has turned them into mashayikh.
Sheikh Yahya just turned all these people around him into mashayikh. So Sheikh Al-Hamid doesn't deserve the title of Sheikh. Let's see that. And we'll see, and then we'll compare that to him, Abu Khadija, and these people. They get the title Sheikh, but Sheikh Al-Hamid doesn't.
Sheikh Abu Amr is with me. Sheikh Abdul Hamid, who's Abu Amr is with him, mashallah. Who's Abu Amr? I don't know.
Sheikh Salafi Talk. There's an article. TROID invite him, and it was titled Sheikh, and he started giving them their praises. It's on your website. How do you not know? He was invited by your sister organization, TROID. They brought him, Sheikh Zayed, Sheikh Abu Amr, and now you don't know. You guys also invited some of your people in Trinidad. And this is not correct. You can't just deny something that you know. It's not on your website. Just because someone disagrees with you, you can't totally deny their knowledge and so forth. Or make it look like you don't know the person, and you do.
Who's he? Abu Amr is with him, mashallah. Who's Abu Amr? I don't know. Sheikh Abdul Hamid is with Abdul Hamid. The noble Sheikh Abu Iyad Amjad Rafiq has written, Hafidahullah Ta'ala.
Look, Abu Iyad Amjad Rafiq, Hafidahullah, has written. He's a Sheikh, but Sheikh Abu Amr, Sheikh Zayed. Look at the massive books they've written. Sheikh Zayed's book just on the Fara'id inheritance. Even Shuyukh of Saudi have praised his books. the massive volumes of some of the Mashaykh of Jamaj, and then you're just going to say they're not a Shaykh. Shaykh just made them a Shaykh. But Amjad Rafiq, Abu Yad is a Shaykh. Okay, but someone, we don't even know where he studied really. Where did Amjad Rafiq study by this? But these Mashaykh, they're not a Shaykh. We have to be just for this. This is I'm trying to show the extreme hatred and their opponents. This is not the Salafi way. They have the inharafu and manhaj al-Salaf. They deviate from the way of the Salaf and how to deal with those who are in opposition with.
Read it. This is a nasiha for you. This was his response to him.
Also here, where he speaks about Shaykh, let's hear this.
How can anyone sit in this Masjid Salafi and be confused about this shaitan? Don't.
Talking about Shaykh, he's a shaitan, he said. One time he's Iblis of Yemen, one time shaitan.
Don't be confused. It's not because we have any. Wallahi, if it was just us and Yahya.
Some of them, when we can return back to the full audios for these clips, there's parts from it.
As for what was mentioned about Shaykh Yahya and the refutations that have been mentioned about him, then the points of criticism, and I'm speaking through first-hand knowledge, as from the time the fitna began in Yemen, you may say it was late 2006, up until they left him.
So here's Abu Atiyah, the Imam of Masjid, Imam Muqbil in the UK, because they labeled his Masjid as Masjid Hajuri, and when it closed down for a time period, they were celebrating that it closed down on Twitter, that they said Masjid Hajuri closed down. So here he's pointing out that we're not a blind follower. Firstly, he's going to point out that there's even certain things that you may have different views as a student from the Shaykh. But the issue is, could you declare him to be an innovator for saying, like, for example, the first adhan? All the other stuff that they responded to has been detailed, clarified, and its places. But whoever's this one can go back to those places. But this particular issue is their biggest thing, say the first adhan. And they gave examples of people, Sahabas, that have said it, and that is, actually Muhammad said, Ibn Umar said it, and he sees it to be authentic, that is bid'ah. Suppose someone said, I don't see this to make him to be an innovator. I disagree with him in that view, which is the students, some of his students. But they say, no, you're automatically a Haddadi as well. Why? Because you don't say he's Haddadi for that. He said, I don't see the view of that. I don't know that, but I don't see this reach to be Haddadi. And this is their extremeness. It's like, if you don't hold my view, like if a person says, I don't see the word, where is that coming? So you're Haddadi as well. I'm trying to show you the extremism. There are thousands of students, Shaykh, Haddadi as well. Regardless of even what you're from the students of Hajuri, you take from them, you're Haddadi as well, right away. Like someone we find them and say, why are you warning from this person? His teacher is a Hajuri. Khalas, he's a Muqtadi as well. No ifs or buts. And this is the extremism. Like, it's not like he fanatically defended him. He just he took knowledge from him. And probably clarify, try to see if he's fanatically supporting. Nope, straight away he's deviant. Because he says the first adhan is an innovation. So there's some scholars who said that as well. Why? Nope, those scholars are exception, but only Hajuri. And then you tell him, when Shaykh came, there's an audio when he came to Spubs, he gave a talk and a voice was translating. He said the same opinion. Why was he not an innovator then? And you guys had his books and you're promoting his books. Why didn't you say he was an innovator then? Because later on when he advised you, supposedly now we want to use this.
Let me speak as an individual. Are you going to remove a person from Salafiyah based on that? The principle, if he was in reality an innovator, and the person did not hold him to be an innovator because it wasn't clear to him, are we going to remove them from Salafiyah based on that? The principle لا يبدع من لا يبدع المبتدع فهو مبتدع. The one who does not declare an innovator to be an innovator, he is an innovator. This is من قواعد الحدادية. This is from the principles of the Haddadis. The followers of Mahmud Haddad, who was an extremist, say originally from Egypt, he went to Saudi Arabia. He built this kutla, this jama'ah of people who they began to go into excess in refuting scholars. They ended up burning the books of Ibn Hajar and Nawawi because they made mistakes in Aqidah and their knowledge is not to be taken from. This is from the principles of these people.
And also one of the things too, Sheikh Rabi wrote in the characteristics of Haddadiyah, is that no matter how much a person clarifies and says, I don't mean this, or I didn't, they will still continue to label that person with it. Even if a person maybe clarifies and says, I don't intend this, or even if he retracts. Like if there's something that years ago Sheikh retracted from, they still continue to repeat it. You tell them, here's the retraction. Nope, we don't take that. You're still labeling him with it. What kind of manhaj is this? Even if he's a mubtadi, you can't still accuse him of something he recanted from. So this is the people, this is their methodology.
The one who does not declare an innovator to be an innovator, then you are also an innovator. When is it that the person is declared an innovator? You ask them a sheikh, they will say to you, if this person defends these mistakes, defends his manhaj, defends what he's upon of error, naam, yulhaq bih, he is to follow him and is exited from the fold of Salafiyah. Where is that? Where is it that asl, a foundation from the foundations of the Sunnah, has been opposed? Bias towards a particular sheikh, that's not to be generalized on everyone. And the hukum of this person was biased towards the sheikh, or this person defended the sheikh in that mistake, that doesn't, it doesn't present.
Suppose there's someone biased to sheikh or fanatical to sheikh. You cannot generalize it to all of the students now.
My view, nor does it present the view of others. Every person is held individually, unless you have speech or you have something documented which indicates this. So, in summary, this issue here, like I said, it has discrepancy. From the things which are in there is this: to attach a people to a sheikh and then do tabdi' bil qawm. Entire people are made mubtadi'ah.
Tell me, the students probably are taking other mashayikh, they're benefiting other shuyukh, they went to study with them, but yet they're innovators as well because they took knowledge from this sheikh. So what kind of manhaj? Look at what the person's teaching, what he's upon, and so forth. Is he fanatical to someone? Suppose that sheikh was an innovator, just like look at that. Show another extreme from their side.
Say, don't take for them. Why? Because the blind followers of Hajuri. Where have you blind followed Hajuri? Subhanallah. Bring examples of this. Bring evidence for it.
It's known that taqleed is not allowed even in the Majj, blind following. How would it be allowed all of a sudden for this issue? People, even when they're responding to students, they're responding with knowledge academically. Try to prove to them. And then also, you can see, now they're disagreeing with Arafat, who's like the main person, who their points was written by and gathered by. Their home base about Hajuri, Sheikh. And so, if you look now, his criticism, you're probably second guessing it now. You need to go look back and see perhaps what he said about his stuff and his stance and how he is not so accurate. And if you really look, you'll see that. Here's another thing. While the war was happening in Damascus, people have been bombed as a whole, Damascus, women and children. Someone messaged Abu Khadija, 2013, October 31st, on WhatsApp, and said, "Why is it that you don't follow the ulama when they tell you to make dua for Ahlul Damaj? Like some of the scholars even said to do dua for them, make qunut." He said, "You like spreading what you call rudud, but not their advice when it goes against your own desires. Are the people of Damaj and the Shaykh outside of Islam? Is it that why you refuse to tell people to make dua for them? You've gone to ghulu and your hate, and you need to make tawbah and return to the sunnah." This is what we're mentioning. Someone was mentioning 2013, we were mentioning this a while a while ago and also now. They went to ghulu in their hate, and also ghulu in their love sometimes for some of the shuyukh. He said the Salaf would look to their sins when calamities befell them. Al-Hajuri should stop acting like a fool, repent to Allah, command His Hizb to do the same, and maybe Allah's aid will come to the match. And Allah is all capable of annihilating the heretical Rafidi Houthis. So, but he's not answering to make dua. Yani, we're allowed even to say for a Muqtadiya, yani, when he dies, Rahimahullah. And he was still within Islam, Rahimahullah. And we're talking about this is a place where there's women and children, there's people, there's kuffar against Muslims. Just make dua like the scholars. You've seen all of the ulama. This is their extreme hate. Here's the audio of Dr. Osama al-Utaybi. Someone used to be with them, admitting how they were with Sheikh Ubayd al-Jabri. They witnessed a plot and scheme being made by Arafat to get Sheikh Ubayd al-Jabri to speak against Sheikh al-Hajuri and to raise his opponents against him.
كيف استطاعوا إسقاط يحيى الحجوري عند الشيخ عبيد؟ كيف فعلوا ذلك؟ بالتحريض والأخبار الكاذبة.
So he's saying, how do they get Sheikh Ubayd to attack and drop Sheikh Yahya? Through lying and fabrication, the likes of this.
والغلو والمبالغة وعملوا مصادمة.
Ghulu and all these type of things, techniques that they did.
يعني قمة التحريش عملها عرفات وهاني ومعه بين الشيخ عبيد وبين يحيى الحجوري.
So this is someone that was with them, and even when he was attacking Sheikh Yahya, but on their side, he's actually admitting it. And there was even also another message where they said that Arafat texted him and said, we're going to get Sheikh Rabi' to speak about Sheikh Yahya, but the way we do it, we're going to get multiple people to come to him at one time and complaining about Hajuri. And Hajuri this and Hajuri that, and just get multiple people to speak. And this is how we're going to get to him to speak about Sheikh Yahya.
أول شيء وحتى يتقوى جانب الشيخ عبيد على الحجوري ماذا فعلوا؟ رفعوا من شأن مشايخ اليمن الذين ليسوا مع الحجوري أو الذين هم لم يكونوا مع الحجوري ولا ضد الحجوري. الشيخ الوصابي، الشيخ الإمام، الشيخ البرعي وغيرهم من المشايخ. وبدأت قضية النفخ.
He tells me the technique too, they will get even the mashayikh that are not with Sheikh Yahya and they'll raise those mashayikh. This is how they'll get Sheikh Ubayd to do what they did. So there's a lot that can be said about these individuals. We can perhaps set that in other sessions at times and bring out the audios for that. This is a quick answer we wanted to do, even though it's quite it's long, but in terms of what really we can put together. And perhaps we'll leave that to another timing, inshallah. But this is just the people that are warning, pay them no attention. Inshallah, if there is some truth, then bring it. Inshallah, we'll take the advice. But if it's the same thing, prove to us that he's a deviant or innovator, inshallah, we'll leave the person. But if you can't do that, then we know him to be someone from Ahlul Sunnah. Like some of the other shuyukh, we know they can be right at times, they can be wrong at times. He can forget, he can remember. We don't blindfold him. And he himself as well advises not to blindfold him. And we benefit from the other mashayikh upon the khair and sunnah. So this is it. If a person has something, they can give advice of anything else that we fall into error with, then we're open for that. We're willing to repent and recant and make any clarification if it's needed. We're human beings and we're lacking knowledge in a lot of aspects. We're still learning. So this is our affair, and we're trying to benefit our communities with the little that we have. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us all. Subhanaka wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.